Call to order the New Kent County Board of Supervisors August 12th, 2024 regular meeting to order. This evening we have Dr. Walter Roy from St. Luke's Baptist Church to lead us in an invocation. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. We pray that you give us the wisdom and knowledge to conduct our meeting. Now, Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for allowing me to be here, the board and the members, for allowing me to share some things about St. Luke Baptist Church. I've been there 10 years. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you know I like the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Who's going to be their quarterback?
You're right. I'm retired 28 years from history teacher from Peaslee Middle School in Gloucester, Virginia. I'm presently the senior pastor at St. Luke Baptist Church in West Point, Plum Point area. We are a small yet very active church in our community. We talk about growth. Plum Point is a growing community. We invite you to worship with us each Sunday morning. We start at Sunday school starts at 9:45. We're out at 10:45, and worship service starts at 11, and we're usually out of there by 12:15. Well, anyway, I have a, what you call it, I was going to write something up for 3 or 4 minutes, and Reverend Hathaway said, no, you're going to be 48 seconds. So I am now done.
Dr. Roy, thank you so much for coming out and sharing us what you're doing down with your ministry. Ms. Watkins, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Evelyn?
Here.
Mr. Moyer?
Here.
Ms. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Steers?
Here.
And Ms. Stewart?
Here.
Good evening. Welcome, everyone, in attendance and at home this evening. Kind of pretty, not too bad a meeting this evening, so let's get started with it. I assume everybody's had a chance to look at the consent agenda, and I understand there might be a few concerns or issues.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to talk about our membership with BML. Rodney, can you give us, or Mr. Hathaway, sorry, can you give us a briefing on that and why it would be beneficial for the county to join BML as well as VACO?
Sure, yes. I have received a recent request from the Virginia Municipal League for New Kent County to consider being a member of that organization. We do currently belong to VACO. We have been for a very long time. And VML provides a similar type service, but I would say VML are most known for its legislative advocacy and lobbyist services that they provide to localities. VML, they also provide a series of workshops, conferences, trainings, elected official trainings throughout the year, and they have, I believe, one, if not two, annual conferences each year as well. To be a full member, which is what we've received the invoice for, that cost is $12,351. There is also an option for an associate membership. I've not received an invoice for that, but I've been informed by VML that that cost is $5,272 as an associate member. I believe the only difference is we would not have the opportunity to vote on organizational matters, nor would we have the opportunity to serve in a board member position on their executive board.
And how many, there's only 8 counties in Virginia that belong to VML, is that correct?
That is correct. Currently, there's 8 counties that are part of VML, but I will say there is a push with VML right now to get more county membership.
A second question. Are you, Ms. Pearson, are you? So I know we talked about, or it was put in our materials that this will come out of our contingency reserve right now. Where do we plan on cutting from next year to make up the $12,000?
Well, with $12,000, we'll probably make up that with just growth. As we build new houses, we get new revenues and new businesses coming on board too. We anticipate that we'll see this in growth.
And does VACO have different membership levels, like full member or?
I'm not aware of VACO offering an associate membership. I do know that our current annual fee for VACO, yes, for 2024, we've not received an invoice for 2025 yet, was $5,210.
See, I know when I looked at the website for VML, I saw that we were listed as the 9th of 9, but I also noticed, I didn't count because it was overwhelming how many towns were listed. So I'm not sure of the value of being a voting member of VML. So I'm not sure that I'm in a position to support a full membership today. But that's I could be persuaded to be an associate member, but I think that it might be premature.
Yeah. And this is a bit of a change for VML. Historically, all the counties joined VACO, Virginia Association of Counties, and the towns and cities were members of VML. But VML is now opening up their membership, and they're trying to get more counties to be part of that.
And the conferences and workshops that you were talking about, Mr. Hathaway, are those free of charge, or are those additional monies that would have to be budgeted?
Well, they are. There is a fee for their conferences and most of their workshops. And I will also say that they do a lot of these conferences, not their annual conference, but a lot of their workshops they do in partnership with VML, with VACO. So we will get opportunities to participate in some of their workshops just with our membership with VACO.
As you know that Mr. Hathaway he's the chair of the VML insurance group, and we have VML insurance. So I think an associate member, that's a compromise. I know we do get a lot of advice from VML. I know I've contacted them a bunch of times, so I could support associate members. That's the feeling of the board.
I would too. How do we change?
I have
This
technical. Do you,
Hold
are
on,
you still the chair?
hold on. Let me get Mr. Moore. You got the floor.
Okay, I was just wondering how we change the consent agenda. We just
Yeah, so you could move to adopt the consent agenda with the exception of item C under miscellaneous, which is the VML item, and then you could separately make a motion afterwards to join Virginia Municipal League at either of the membership amounts, or vote to not do that if the board's will is not to do that.
thank you.
Right.
Ms. Stewart, you got it.
Does the associate membership still allow Mr. Hathaway to be the chair of the insurance group and all?
Yes,
it's
it
still,
does.
okay.
Any other questions or concerns about the consent agenda?
So we believe that with the associate membership for VML, that this could be helpful in addition to the lobbyists that we hired for the Colonial Downs funds as well, correct?
Yes, yes, we do.
I mean, I think I would be in favor of the associate membership, but I don't think I know I'm not in favor of the full membership.
Anybody else have any comments on the VML? I mean,
I'll say, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the consent agenda except for C, the VML membership.
we have a motion on the floor. Any other comments, questions? None. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye.
I'll make a motion
Mr.
that
Moyer.
we have agreed that the associate membership would be the way to go with the VML.
In the amount of,
In the amount of $5,272.
Yes, and then if there could also be a mention of the appropriation from the reserved for contingency line item.
And
so moved.
And
And
what
to
Josh
appropriate
said.
those funds.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Any other discussion from board members? If none, Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members, please?
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Motion passed. Next is the citizens' comment period. Would you bring the sign-up sheet, please? No one signed up. I'll close the citizens' comment period. Next is the residency administrator's report. Mr. Nguyen. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway, Marshall Nguyen with VDOT. This past month, we had 129 work orders, completed 107, had 12 after-hour call-outs, been doing regular maintenance activities, pothole and asphalt repair. We graded some non-hard surface roads throughout the month, and some ditching and shoulder work and cleanup, tree removal and brush cleanup from the past couple of storms. Done some tractor mow and trash pickup. Our third cycle of tractor mow on primaries will start next week, and secondaries will start soon after that. Other than that, I don't have anything else, not unless y'all have some questions.
Thank you. Mr. Moyer?
Mr. Nguyen, thanks for all you guys do. That was 129. That's a little more than normal. Call-outs and that. I'm sure that it was busy with the storms. I'm kind of like contractually have an agreement that I always bring up the roundabout at 249 and Dispatch Road. And if if we can get that, whenever the information, all the studies are done in that, then we can start thinking about financing. So we'd like to get that in as quick as we could.
As soon as I get it, it'll be going to Mr. Hathaway.
Very good, very good. That's what I thought. And I sent something about Rock Creek Villa and their ditches.
Yeah, we found the pipe, the pictures you sent to me, the inlet end of that pipe was blocked up,
Okay.
and we opened it up.
Thank you very much.
What we ended up doing, so.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moy. Ms. Pearson?
Hi, Mr. Nguyen. I'm going to mention Stage Road again because the traffic coming off the interstate every weekend is horrible on Stage Road, and it's just going to deteriorate even faster because of that. I know that it's scheduled in the future, but if you could do anything to push that up, it would be much appreciated. I'm going to mention the apron on Shooter Run Road again, too.
Okay.
You and I have talked about that with Mr. Hathaway, and yes, that was put in there as an aside, but it needs a little extra work if that could be done, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll look into it. We did finish Egypt Road too, so.
Thank you very much for that.
Mr. Steers?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Nguyen, thank you for being here, taking time out of your busy schedule. We appreciate it always. The last Transportation Safety Commission meeting we had, we discussed the two bills that were passed by the delegates this past spring, HB 74 and HB 793. And you said that you guys needed some time to look into it. Have you had enough time to look in to see how that is going to affect localities like New Kent?
Yeah, I actually sent that information to Mr. Hathaway today to share with y'all,
Okay.
and asked him if he had any questions to get back with me. So
Okay.
the information is pretty cut and dry.
Does it allow the localities to lower the speed limits on certain
It
roads
does with an ordinance.
with an ordinance?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's some there's some things that have to go along. It has to be permitted, and the county has to put the signs up and maintain the signs through preferred, from here until the end of time at their cost. So.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Also, there was let's see, where did I have it? Oh, the specialty mowing.
Yes.
On Kentland Trail. Are you guys doing that, or is Colonial Downs actually doing it?
We did it last time, as far as I know.
Like in the last week, you think?
Last couple of
Terry?
weeks, probably.
We checked. I mean, the side where Colonial Downs is fine. It looks like somebody has mowed it, and it wasn't me this time. But I think on the other side, behind the Dairy Queen, that's starting to look like a jungle over there.
Or Chesapeake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Chesapeake.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And that's it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you, Mr. Terry, for being here tonight. Also, I'd like to recognize that our Congressman Rob Whitman is in the audience tonight, and we appreciate you being here. And I think, didn't you start out like us one time? Yeah. Okay. We appreciate you being here. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Stewart?
Sure. First, thank you for everything. I feel like I didn't have as many of my addresses on this list this time as I normally do. But I know I sent you and Mr. Terry an email from a gentleman on Holly Fork regarding the ditching. Do you have any update on that?
Yeah, they went out and checked that area. The stump he's talking about, that's scheduled for next week.
Okay.
We did find a couple other areas with a couple of stumps blocking the ditch, and they're going to take care of that next week as well.
Perfect, thank you. And then the potholes on Roper's Church, and then I just got a call today about some pretty significant potholes from over the weekend in front of Curtis Contracting. I don't know if you guys will be able to ride by there anytime soon, but it seemed recent.
On the main road in front of Curtis Contracting? I need to find out when they go pave that section, because that section's supposed to be paved prior to, the end of October.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Nguyen, thank you for being here. I know y'all had a lot going on with the storm and debris. Y'all did a great job getting everything cleaned up with the flood and water. Ms. Terry, thank you for getting that road graded for me. And that's all I have this evening. Enjoy the rest of the summer.
Mr. Hathaway. Yes. We still meeting at 1 o'clock tomorrow?
Yes, 1 o'clock tomorrow at the address on New Kent Highway.
Yes, sir. We'll
All
see you
right.
tomorrow then.
Thank you.
All right.
Next, it's an honor, like Ms. Steers said, to have our congressman with us tonight. Congressman Whitman, really appreciate you coming out here and giving us an update of what's going on in Congress. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Listen, thank you to the board, Supervisor Moyer, Supervisor Pearson, Supervisor Steer, Supervisor Stewart. Thank you all so much. Administrator Hathaway, County Attorney Everard. Thank you all so much. Thanks for the opportunity. It brings back fond memories of my days serving on a board of supervisors. That truly is where the rubber hits the road. So I appreciate what you all do. My wife used to tell me when I was on the board that if I was going with her to the grocery store that we needed to leave an hour early because she knew that I'd have my list of the store and she had a grocery list. I had my to-do list for my constituents. So I appreciate what you all do. And obviously the questions there before VDOT brings back lots of memories about my list of issues for VDOT. And speaking of VDOT, let me start off with the I-64 widening project. As you know, some delays there, and I question those delays. One of the delays is due to the northern long-eared bat. And, you know, the interesting thing about that is because of endangered species provisions, and listen, this was in the RFP for the project, that there would potentially be delays from April through November because of the long-eared bat. The interesting thing on the other side is that the long-eared bat population suffer from a disease, an incurable disease called white nose syndrome. It's incurable, has nothing to do with whether or not there are trees there. And I always thought it was somewhat strange that they would stop an operation taking down trees. I'm not exactly certain how a downed tree is a habitat for a bat, or how it would be in the bat's interest to have a habitat where they could habitate between two major lanes of highways. It seems like to me that's not a really safe place for bats to be. So anyway, but leave it beyond me to question why that happened. Needless to say, you can see the operations have started again, thank goodness. The concern I think all of us have too is that's a tremendous amount of timber out there that could have been used for a very useful purpose, and when it's on the ground, as many of you know, it doesn't serve that purpose. So we have continued to question that, continue to make sure the federal agencies are focused on how they can provide opportunities for VDOT to continue, you know, time-wise on that project. Let me speak a little bit too about Congress's job. You all, by law, have to adopt a budget every year. You have to operationalize your budget. Congress should be held to the same standard. Listen, I think we ought to be in D.C. now. I love being here in New Kent, but we still have 7 of the 12 appropriations bills left to do. We will get back in Washington the second week of September with only 3 legislating weeks left before the end of the fiscal year. And we will not, I believe, get those 7 remaining appropriations bills done. So here we are again with another continuing resolution. This will be year 19 that the nation continues to operate under a temporary funding mechanism. It just doesn't make sense. You would never operate a business like that. The county couldn't properly operate like that, just holding things back and not starting anything new or stopping things that aren't working. And I have now, almost for 15 years, advocated that Congress shouldn't get to go home in August and September unless it gets all 12 appropriations bills done. I wish I could tell you I had a lot of my other colleagues that would join me, but they have not. Another simple element, too, is we need to get a budget done by April 15th. I didn't get one done this year. I have another bill in called No Budget, No Pay. Pretty simple. Congress doesn't do its job, shouldn't get a paycheck. Those things are just common sense. And then at the other side is that if we don't get a CR or appropriations bills done by the end of September, then we're faced with a government shutdown. And think about it. So a shutdown that is occurring because Congress doesn't act, and then if a shutdown does occur, the federal workforce is divided into essential and non-essential employees. And I get asked all the time when there was a shutdown, and I've been through 3 of them now, they said, Rob, why do we have non-essential employees? And I said, that is a good question. And here, essential employees have to go to work, and they don't get a paycheck, and non-essential employees don't have to go to work. And then after it's all said and done, the federal employees get paid. So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then through the years, there was an exemption for members of the military, but it didn't include the Coast Guard. So folks ask, well, why? Coast Guard are all around the world, and you're not going to pay them. They're putting themselves in harm's way. Their families still have bills like everything else. So what I did was to put another bill in that said inaction has consequences. And I just turned the tables. Pretty simple to me. If there's a shutdown, it's Congress's fault. Congress should not get a paycheck. Federal employees, federal workforce should continue to get a paycheck. You want to see government either not shut down or reopen real fast? Make sure that members of Congress don't get a paycheck. That would fix this in a heartbeat. And I wish I could tell you that I had scores of members signing on to those bills, but at best, each time I introduce them, I might get 36 members that'll sign on to the bills. And some of the excuses I get about why they're not signing on to the bill are pretty interesting. To me, if you have a piece of legislation, if you're going to get it passed, you have to find 217 other people at least that'll vote with you. Why should it be any different for the most important job for Congress, which is appropriating? But here we are. It'll probably be another continuing resolution. I hope it'll come to conclusion before the end of the year, because remember, in Congress, once the 119th Congress is seated, everything goes back to a blank sheet of paper. So all the appropriations bills that passed are not ones that would be brought up for the next session. You have to essentially start all over again. So I hope that we actually get appropriations done. And remember, too, guess what happens at the 1st of January? We have another debt ceiling issue to deal with. So all of those things there in our forefront, we need to be able to get those things done. Let me talk about another U.S. government function, and that is the United States Postal Service. The Richmond Processing and Distribution Center still is having significant problems. We are meeting with the Postmaster General on a regular basis, the Virginia delegation. They're doing some things there that are improving operations. They still have a ways to go. In the words of the immortal Jerry Reed, they have a long ways to go and a short time to get there. I want to make sure that they're doing more. Especially, too, as we face election season, and we want to make sure that anybody that mails their ballot in, it gets to the registrar here in New Kent quickly. There are still challenges that they have moving forward. They're doing better in delivering first-class mail on time, but there's still, I hear on a daily basis, issues where people have delays in getting medication, delays in their checks showing up to people that they owe money to, or the businesses that are waiting for checks, or people that are waiting for Social Security benefit checks. All of those things continue to be delayed, things that have a big impact on people's lives. So we're going to continue to push the post office to do what they're supposed to do and make things better. The interesting thing is that the Richmond Processing and Distribution Center, I call it the Sandston Center, was the third worst processing facility in the entire United States. And remember, in the middle of last year, they decided, in the face of staffing issues and management issues there, they decided to put in new technology, new processing technology there. So think about that. You already have problems with people showing up and management, and all of a sudden you're going to put new technology in. So that exacerbated things. I still don't believe they are where they need to be. Now, listen, I'll give them credit for some improvements, but still not the improvements that we need, especially to the people that are relying on the Postal Service. So we're going to continue to push the issue on that. I know, too, in the county there's been some issues, not just with traffic on 64 and the things that come with that, the increased demand on your fire and rescue services, but also some federal regulations that really drive safety issues. We know the importance of making sure that we get our truck traffic to the right places. There's still a limitation on what can be placed on an interstate highway as far as large trucks, especially trucks that carry agricultural products, things like grain, things like timber. I want to see us get those trucks to the right place. And as you know, when you have them on very, very narrow roads with no shoulder, deep ditches on either side, in a situation where there is, very small margins of error for safety, I think with the big shoulders, and these roads are designed to carry these large vehicles, is to get them off of these secondary roads, these primary and secondary roads, and get them on the major interstate highway systems. We're going to look for an opportunity to do that, hopefully in this year's Congress, if not again next year, because we know it's had an impact here in New Kent County. We know the impact that it has on drivers here in New Kent County. I want to make sure that we are doing everything possible to be able to address that. We also, too, want to make sure that we honor the incredible public service of Patricia Page and the things that she did here on the Board of Supervisors. We know the new postal facility next door wouldn't be here without Patricia's endless and relentless advocacy for that, and she would call. We'd go over there and visit. I'll never forget going there. She called me. She says, "Rob, I want you to come here. I want you to look at this." It was at Christmas time when the package volume was sky high. And we went over there, and they couldn't fit all the packages in the building. They had it on carts in the back. And she said, "What happens if it snows or rains?" I said, "Patricia, you're exactly right. We got to make sure that this happens." And then, too, the GAP project. I mean, think about the number of years that she was relentless on that. And finally, the Transportation Authority in the region finally said, "Yeah, you're right. We have to make sure we get that project funded." And remember, this goes all the way back to the celebration of Jamestown. Remember, they were gonna add an additional lane from Richmond all the way to Hampton Roads decades ago. And guess what? Here it is finally beginning to happen. So Patricia did an incredible job here. We want to make sure that we're there hand in hand with the county, honoring Patricia's contribution and service to the county. So we look forward to working with you in ways that we can honor Patricia's service that will remind folks, not just now, but in generations to come, of her incredible contribution here to the county. So those are some of the things in the windshield that we are working on. I'd love to take your questions, thoughts, ideas, concerns, and thoughts. And again, I appreciate deeply what you all do as a Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Congressman. Any questions, board members? I would just like to thank you very much for coming out today. I would like to recognize somebody in the audience this evening. Is Patricia Page's sister, Sandy, that's right there. Thank you for all your hard work that you did to help get the project done, the GAP project done. I know you spent a lot of time on that. And if you have some questions about the Postal Service, Sandy Page could let you know because she works with them.
Sandy,
so she can tell you firsthand.
I want to be clear. Our postal carriers and our local post offices do a tremendous job. But as they will tell me, they said, "Rob, we can't deliver mail we don't get."
Right.
So,
well, thank you for all you do for New Kent, and best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Uh, 6:30. I'm going to take a 5-minute break if that's okay. Call the meeting back to order. We have several public hearings this evening. First public hearing is CUP-02-24, Resolution R-20-24. Jonathan Yates, on behalf of Hellman Yates Towers and Verizon, has requested a conditional use permit to construct a 197-foot monopole-style wireless telecommunications facility on tax parcel 51-11F. Ms. Inneman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway. Mr. Ryan Foltz is here on behalf of the Hellman Yates, Arcola Towers, and Verizon, has requested a conditional use permit to construct a 197-foot monopole-style wireless telecommunication facility on the property of Samuel Oatley and Devin Tooley, which is located south of Waterside Drive in Lenexa. The current parcel is approximately 37 acres in size, and the proposed lease area is approximately 10,000 square feet. The zoning is currently A1, and all adjacent properties are zoned A1 with some R1 and C1, notably Rockahawk, in the vicinity. So we do have the applicant here that would like to make a presentation.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, Board, and Mr. Hathaway. I apologize, Mr. Yates could not be here tonight, so you guys have to deal with me. My name is Ryan Foltz. I'm the Development Director for Arcola Towers, kind of doing the day-to-day. I also lost my voice. If you guys heard me coughing earlier, I apologize. So I'll go through this pretty quick. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Amy, for all your help in preparing this application with us and working with us, answering questions and phone calls. Very helpful. As Amy stated, we're proposing 197-foot monopole will be galvanized steel. There will be a 2-foot lightning rod on this monopole on Samuel and Devin's property. This is located on South Waterside Drive in Lexa. This monopole is for Verizon, so Verizon came to us and said, hey, there's a need in the area, no existing structures that can make this need work. So they came to us, we found good property owners, a good piece of land here. Though additionally, this will be built and designed for 3 more additional cellular carriers. So it'll be structurally capable on the pole, as well as there'll be a 50 by 50 compound with an 8-foot fence inside of that 10,000 square foot lease buffer. This is a really good property. Again, it's a little above 37 acres. It's got really good tree and growth cover. We understand that we're doing towers, but we try to work with the carriers to find a good location for their service, a good location for the community. You know, the photo sims turned out really good. Showing a minimal visual, and that's a lot because of the existing mature trees in the area. Excuse me. So I think this is a good balance and a really good application. If anyone's been down there, Verizon service is desperately needed. It's really bad down there, and again, I think this will also be a need for additional carriers as well. The closest tower to this property is 1.25 miles to the northeast, which is a Crown Castle tower. And that just doesn't meet the Verizon requirements. It's basically too far to the northeast to be able to hit that Chickahominy River area, the RV park down there, and everything else. This got approved by SHPO back in May, Virginia SHPO, and also the FAA approved it with no lighting required. I'm here for any all questions. Sorry, keep it brief. And let me know what you guys have.
Anybody have any questions? Mr. Steers?
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't catch your name.
Ryan Foltz.
Foltz, Mr. Foltz. All these people you have listed here that live in that area, did you contact them?
Yeah, we sent out notifications per the county requirements. We did a balloon test with notice to the newspaper, letters out to everybody. We did not hear back from anybody.
No complaints, no favor one way or another?
Unless.
And then secondly, if we were to approve this, would you guys allow the counties to put a satellite dish on there?
Yeah. There's plenty of loading for you guys on top of the additional 3 carriers. So if you guys need something for your guys' equipment, just give me a call, and we'll make it work. And there'll be plenty of space in the ground too.
And who has the insurance on that?
My company owns and leases the tower, so we have insurance on our tower.
Liability insurance?
Yeah. You'll have liability for your equipment typically.
Right.
But then for my tower, that's all me to maintain.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Stewart?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And to be fully transparent, my family owns the adjacent property. So I know we got a notice. I didn't see the balloon because I have to leave for work at that time, but I was waiting for it. A couple of questions, and I'm not sure if it's for Ms. Inman or Mr. Hathaway or you, so I'll just, whoever needs to answer, just answer.
I'll try to answer.
So the first question, and I think you might have answered it, on letter H in the first thing of our packet, the Hellman Yates letter from May 29th, it says that the facility has been designed for Verizon and at least 3 additional broadband carriers. So we can have 4 broadband carriers plus the county, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, let's see. When it says in R, section R, the applicant shall provide the county with spaces, it says that you all are to contact the Director of Public Safety before any additional location is under contract, and the Director of Public Safety shall have 20 workdays to determine whether such location is necessary. This might be a you question, Mr. Hathaway. One, would that functionally, how does that work? Does that come to you? And 2, how do we define workdays? Because I think a public safety workday is different than like your and I's workday.
That would be our fire chief, Rick Opet. He's been appointed as the director of public safety, and work days is our business days, Monday through Friday.
Okay, and then because my main concern is making sure that the county is taken care of in this conditional use permit. I want to make sure if we're saying that's going to benefit the residents, that it benefits obviously me when I'm trying to take a call up my driveway, but benefits us when we have public safety concerns as we grow on this end of the county, because we did just build a nice, pretty fire station, so we want it to be functional. And then maybe last question is, what happens if y'all sell your company? Who owns the tower then, and what, I'm thinking.
If we like sell the tower or our company
Right.
gets
Who do
bought.
we? Because all this, we say we contact y'all if we have an issue with X, Y, and Z. What happens then?
So if you contact us and our company is sold, we're obligated by our lease and from my understanding, our conditional use permit with you guys, that we have to put you in touch with who now has ownership of the tower.
Okay, and that's accurate.
Yes,
I don't doubt you. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's my understanding. So it's not.
Yeah. No, the zoning approvals run with the land, not the owner. So the conditional use permit would stay in place.
I'm just thinking back to like our solar discussions, and if that having a little PTSD from that.
They should also, and since you live there, if let's say my company's bought, they have to have signage for the FCC who to contact on the fence gate. So it'll be there.
Perfect. And I think. No, and thank you for preparing. I don't know who prepared this. Maybe Ms. Inman prepared this, but thank you for preparing this binder. This is great. And one question for Ms. Inman: do we have to do any ground disturbance permits to get this property ready? Or Josh, maybe we did?
Well, they will.
Okay.
So they will have to submit a subsequent site plan application that addresses erosion sediment control and emerging wetlands, stormwater. So that should be in the works
prior to any development. Okay. And then last.
Yeah, that's all we do there is happening.
And very last thing, and I'll be done. Make sure you spell Chickahominy right.
That's Verizon, not Arcola.
I saw that and I was like, this looks odd.
I was talking to the nice lady out front. I was like, the only thing I don't like about this application is Verizon spelled the name wrong with a river.
Yeah, we can ask them to come next time. But no, thank you. And thank you to the Odies and Toolies. Appreciate you guys being here, and I look forward to having better cell service soon.
Anyone else?
Let's see.
I know it's been a while since we've had a cell tower, but I know we've learned from some mistakes that, I think we want to cross our T's and dot our I's with making sure the county has space. So I think that's very important, no question. All right, if there's no other questions, I'll open the public hearing. Has anyone signed up? No one signed up? I'll close the public hearing. Any other comments, questions, concerns? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Resolution R-20-24.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Anybody else? Comments? Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members, please?
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Motion passed. Next public hearing. Thank you. Next public hearing this evening is application AFD-01-24, addition of tax map 25-10-6-23 to the Cooks Mill AFD. Ordinance O-07-24. Ms. Enneman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway. The applicants, Jennifer H. and Mark Cardwell, have applied to add approximately 25.4 acres to the Cooks Mill Agricultural and Forestal District for the purpose of agricultural livestock production. The current zoning of the property is zoned A1. The future land use designation is designated as rural lands. And the request appears to comply with the requirements of the state and county codes regulating the agricultural and forestal districts. The request also promotes land use patterns that are consistent with the current comprehensive plan. The Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee and Planning Commission have recommended approval. Likewise, staff finds that adding the subject property into the AFD program would conserve and protect commercially viable agricultural and forestal lands. Staff therefore offers a favorable recommendation of this application.
Thank you, Ms. Enneman. I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody signed up? No one signed up. I'm going to close the public hearing. Any comments?
I'm very familiar with this farm, William Farms. I bought poultry from them and eggs, and they're a great group of responsible people. So I think it's a good thing.
This is the only one I would like to make one little comment about. Obviously, I think it does fit into, our AFD, but this is the only one that did come off a large lot subdivision, 25 acres. So technically, it is a subdivision. I've been trying to work with the Commissioner of Revenue. I know Mrs. Steers probably remembers that. I mean, by state code, it does qualify, but it was a bigger piece of land that actually went into a subdivision. So it's a touchy situation there if we start letting all these properties in. But anyway, I just wanted to make that comment just to make fellow new board members aware, because you're really not supposed to have a subdivision in the AFD, but it is considered a large size subdivision. But anyway, it falls within the state guidelines and codes.
Correct.
So you have a motion, Ms. Pearson?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 0-07-24, approving application AFD 01-24 to add tax map parcel 25-10-6-23 GPIN K23-1249-2394 to the Cooks Mill Agricultural and Forestal District.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Any other comments? Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Motion passed. Next public hearing, application AFD 02-24, addition of tax map 47-8B to the York River AFD. Ordinance O-08-24. Ms. Enneman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway. The applicants Beverly and Joseph Davis have applied to add approximately 18.34 acres to the York River Agricultural and Forestal District for the purpose of agricultural production of corn crops. The total parcel is 18.34 acres. It is zoned A1. It does have a future land use designation as rural lands. They will have 0.34 acres devoted to marsh and wetlands, and approximately 10 acres devoted to tilt cropland, and 7 acres devoted to other uses. So the request appears to comply with the requirements of the state and county codes regulating the agricultural and forestal districts. The request also promotes land use patterns that are consistent with the current comprehensive plan. The Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission recommended approval. Likewise, staff finds that adding the subject property into the AFD program would conserve and protect commercially viable agricultural and forestal lands, and staff therefore offers a favorable recommendation of this application.
Thank you, Ms. Inman. I am going to open up the public hearing. Anyone signed up? No one signed up. Fellow board members have any questions for Ms. Inman? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt ordinance O-08-24 approving application AFD-02-24 to tax map parcel 47-8B GPIN F32-3413-4148 to the York River Agricultural and Forestal District.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. No other comments. Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Motion passed. Next, application AFD-03-24, addition of tax map parcel 22-65 to the Pelham Swamp AFD. Ordinance O-09-24. Ms. Inman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Mr. Hathaway. The applicant at Crisscross Properties have applied to add a total of approximately 180 acres to the Pelham Swamp Agricultural and Forestal District for the purpose of increasing profitability of forage stock, livestock systems, and improve water quality, increase in land capacity to accommodate higher cattle numbers. The Pelham Swamp AFD currently consists of approximately 37 parcels, totaling approximately 3,078 acres, and is set to expire on August 31st of 2025. The property is currently zoned as A1, and it does have a future land use designation as rural lands. The land use is to devote approximately 168 acres to pasture, 12 acres to tilled croplands, and the request appears to comply with the requirements of the state and county codes regulating the agricultural and forestal districts. The request also promotes the land use patterns that are consistent with the comprehensive plan. The Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee and Planning Commission have recommended approval. Likewise, staff finds that adding the subject property into the AFD program would conserve and protect commercially viable agricultural and forestal lands, and therefore staff offers a favorable recommendation of this application.
Thank you. I'll open a public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. Any comments? I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Moyer?
I got a motion.
Mr. Chair, I actually have a question.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
No,
Ms. Stewart.
Sorry.
No, Ms. Inman, have you guys, this is general, have y'all totaled up all the new acreage going into AFD?
For every
all of these requests?
Every single, we do have that information that we could provide to you.
Okay.
I don't have it right offhand, but we could provide that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt ordinance O-09-24, approving application AFD-03-24 to add tax map parcel 22-65 GPIN K15-3784-0313 to the Pelham Swamp Agricultural and Forestal District. Oh, sorry, I didn't have my mic on, but
That's all right. All right, there's a motion. Any questions? Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Motion passed. Next, application AFD-04-24, addition of tax map parcel 26-5-5 and tax map 26-70 to the Cooks Mill AFD. Ordinance O-10-24. Ms. Inman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway. The applicants, Ray and Brenda Sickle, have applied to add a total of approximately 122.45 acres to the Cooks Mill Agricultural and Forestal District for the purpose of forestal production. The applicants seek to conduct timber management on this property The Cooks Mill AFD currently consists of approximately 43 parcels, totaling approximately 5,312 acres, and is set to expire on August 31st of 2026. The zoning is currently A1, and the future land use is rural lands. And they do intend to devote 32.81 acres to the marsh and wetlands, 7 acres to pasture, and 82.64 acres to timber. So the request appears to comply with the requirements of the state and county codes regulating the agricultural and forestal districts. The request also promotes land use patterns that are consistent with the current comprehensive plan. The Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission have recommended approval. Likewise, staff finds that adding the subject property into the AFD program would conserve and protect commercially viable agricultural and forestal lands. Staff therefore offers a favorable recommendation of this application.
I'll open up the public hearing. No one signed up. Any comments on this? Questions?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 0-10-24, approving application AFD-04-24 to add tax map parcel 26-5-5, GPIN K25-2067-2017, and tax map parcel 26-70, GPIN K25-3782-0758 to the Cooks Mill Agricultural and Forestal District.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Comments? Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next, AFD-05-24, renewal of the Big Swamp AFD, ordinance O-11-24.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway. The Big Swamp Agricultural and Forestal District will expire on August 31st of 2024. The district currently consists of 16 parcels totaling approximately 900 acres. All of the members of the district have been contacted by the planning department and informed that the district will expire this year. All members have indicated their desire to remove or renew their membership in the district. We received 5 requests to allow their AFD status to expire and 11 requests to renew their AFD status. You may reference the list that is included in your packet that indicates if a parcel will be renewed or allowed to expire. The supporting response letters are also included with your report. All previously approved land uses continue to be reported annually.
Thank you, Ms. Zinnemann.
The recommendation, the district appears to comply with requirements of the state and county codes regulating the AFDs. The request also promotes land use patterns that are consistent with the comprehensive plan and that the district promotes low-density development as intended for the rural lands in the future land use designation. The Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission have recommended approval. Likewise, staff finds that renewing the Big Swamp AFD will conserve and protect commercially viable agricultural and forestal lands, and staff therefore recommends a favorable approval of renewal of the Big Swamp AFD.
Thank you. I'll open up the public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. Any comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to adopt ordinance O-11-24 to approve application AFD-0-24 to renew the Big Swamp AFD for a term of 10 years without the parcels indicated on the ordinance as withdrawing.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Any other comments? Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
All right. We're going to skip number 8. We're going to go to 9. And Ms. Zinnemann, since these are just renewals, you don't have to worry about reading all that stuff because all of it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We're going to skip 8. We're going to go to application AFD-07-24, addition of tax map 2-39, tax map parcel 2-40, and tax map parcel 9-71 to the Putney Creek AFD. Ms. Inman.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway. The applicants of Tidewater and Big Bend Foundation have applied to add a total of approximately 139 acres to the Putney Creek Agricultural and Forestal District for the purpose of forestal production. The Tidewater and Big Bend Foundation seek to manage wildlife habitat, improve the overall health of the forest, maintain scenic forests, and conduct timber management. The Putney Creek AFD currently consists of approximately 30 parcels totaling 3,200 acres, and it's set to expire on August 31st. And so our recommendation is that the request appears to comply with the requirements of the state and county codes regulating agricultural and forestal districts. The request also promotes land use patterns that are consistent with the current comprehensive plan. The Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission have recommended approval. Likewise, staff finds that adding the subject property into the AFD program would conserve and protect commercially viable agricultural and forestal lands. Staff therefore offers a favorable recommendation of this application.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. No one signed up. Any comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I adopt ordinance O-13-24 approving application AFD-07-24 to add tax map parcel 2-39 GPIN P0P8-2991-1498 tax map parcel 2-40 GPIN P08-2565-164 and tax map parcel 9-71 GPIN 008-2679-5066 to the Putney Creek Agricultural and Forestal District.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members, please?
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Motion passed. Our last public hearing tonight is AFD-06-24. I am going to turn that over to our Vice Chair, Mrs. Steers. I'm going to abstain due to a conflict of interest. The nature of this conflict of interest is that the subject of this action is an AFD district in which I own some property.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Inman.
Yes. Thank you. And the Pamunkey River Agricultural and Forestal District, AFD, will expire on August 31st of 2024. The district currently consists of 56 parcels totaling approximately 8,142 acres. All of the members of the district have been contacted by the planning department and informed that the district will expire this year. Members of the district have indicated their desire to renew their membership in the district. We have not received any requests to allow the AFD status to expire. The supporting response letters are included in the packet, and all previously approved land uses continue to be reported annually. So therefore, the district appears to comply with the requirements of the state and county code regulating the AFDs. The request also promotes land use patterns that are consistent with the comprehensive plan, and that the district promotes low-density development as intended for the rural lands future land use designation. The Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission have recommended approval. Likewise, staff also finds that renewing the Pamunkey River AFD will conserve and protect commercially viable agricultural and forestal lands. Staff therefore offers a favorable recommendation for renewal of the Pamunkey River AFD.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone signed up? All right, no one has signed up, so at this time, I'll close the public hearing. Any comments from the board?
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-12-24 to approve application AFD-06-24 to renew the Pamunkey River AFD for a term of 10 years.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
and Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
At this time, I'll turn it back over to the chairman and notice it was a short-lived session for me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steers. Great job. That ends our public hearings this evening. Next is the elected officials report. Ms. Stewart.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't get a chance to do this at our work session, but I know they're not here, but I just wanted to recognize our Department of Social Services. So I'm on the advisory committee with Mr. Hathaway with them as well, and they've been dealing with a lot of hard situations, and I think they've been doing it well and with grace. When they described to me some of the stuff they've been dealing with, it was pretty unimaginable, so just wanted to give them a second of recognition, because I know they do thankless work. So just wanted to do that, and then to congratulate Lindsay on a very successful event yesterday. I thought it was good, and it was nice to see everyone there, and our Sheriff's Department, especially Animal Control. I'm thoroughly enjoying the ducks, so thank you especially to Devin Yost for wrangling them. But that's all I've got today. Just a lot of appreciation, especially to Mr. Hathaway for answering all my many questions the past couple weeks. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steers.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. A couple of weeks ago, I met with the Chamber of Commerce and with our new EDA director, Ms. Hart, and a couple ladies from the Three Rivers Garden Club. And they are planning a huge event for New Kent County on April the 26th of 25. And this garden club has 43 states that belong to this group. And they will have a huge event here in New Kent County on the garden tour and all that kind of stuff. And you guys know I'm not too much of a garden club kind of person, so I won't be there. I will probably be out in the middle of the ocean fishing, but I do like to support anything that this organization does. Also, I wanted to see if I could run this by the board and get permission. I've mentioned it to our chairman, and I've also mentioned it to Ms. Stewart. I received an email. It's called Go Rail. It's railroad crossing funding. And as all of you know, we have a railroad track that comes through New Kent County, CSX Railroad. And in the past years, there have been several people who have been killed at these crossings because they are non-signaled crossings. This government program is a group that has accumulated $1.15 billion in funding, and $229 million is set aside for projects in rural and tribal lands. And we have to fill out a grant to be considered for it, and it's a pretty strict grant. And I have reached out to Chief Opet. He has someone in his office that would be willing to write the grant. That person is a 1099 employee, so we would have to pay his salary separate from the fire chiefs or any other salary. So I just wanted to see if I could get a consensus, or I don't know if you want to have a motion made, or to see if we could go forward with it, this grant. Especially like the one in Ms. Stewart's district, Rockahawk Campground, that's probably the most dangerous one that we have. Then up the street there you have Ed Allen's campground, and then you have the Native American church up the street. So we have 3 or 4 crossings just in the 2 districts there. And you don't hear anything now because it's been several years since someone was killed there. So I would like to be proactive and start planning ahead so that we never have to lose another citizen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steers. What do we need to do to apply for move forward, starting to apply for the grant? I mean, I assume, I don't have any problems with it. Does anybody else?
We can apply for the grant, and then we would be notified on
Right.
whether we,
Right.
And is there a match? Do you know?
No, there's
No
nothing
match.
mentioned about
Okay.
a match.
Do we just need a consensus?
So if the board reaches a consensus about its willingness to apply for a grant, what we can do is see what projects are available. I know that as part of the grant process, we can apply for, quote, eligible projects, and those include grade separation or closure, track relocation, improvement or installation of protective devices, signal signs, other means to improve safety and mobility, groups of the above projects, and then planning environmental studies and final design for those projects.
Well, why don't you got a consensus, I think, now, and come back to the work session, you do a little bit of a homework with it when you come, that work session, bring some more detail back to the board.
That
Rest of the board is
would be
okay.
appreciated, yes, sir.
And I would just like to add, we'll definitely go after this grant funding, but it will require the cooperation of the private property owners where the rail crossings are located on, which has kind of been an issue somewhat in the past, but we'll reach out to them.
And I thought about that too, Mr. Hathaway, but I'm thinking that if it's federal money and they're the ones putting it in, they would have the liability, not the property owners. I may be wrong, but.
That's where we ran into a snag last time, I think.
Right.
Because I think didn't you kind of secure some funding 2 or 3 years ago?
No, I did not try to secure the funding. I tried to see if the property owners would go along with it. What I wanted to do was put up a blinking red light stop sign that blinked 24/7.
I knew it was something.
And the two major property owners there were not interested in that because they felt like, and they're probably right, but they felt like that if they agreed to it, then they would have certain amount of liability for anything going on. So I can appreciate where they're coming from too. But yes, sir.
Anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Steers. Ms. Pearson?
Yes, I'd just like to remind everybody that the fair is this weekend on Saturday at Colonial Downs from 12 to 8. Come out, have fun with the family. And there is a new little free pantry in New Kent County in Quinton. That will be another wonderful volunteer opportunity for our citizens. So take advantage of that. And Ms. Hurt, what a wonderful celebration yesterday. It was very nice. Thank you.
Mr. Moyer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have my town hall on Thursday night, 6 to 8 p.m., and it will be at the Quinton Elementary School. And the first thing at 6 o'clock is be a brief tour of the school. A lot of people have not been in it yet, and I've not seen every room either. So we'll be able to tour and then ask questions. We'll have there Ms. Cunha, who is our District 2 school board member, Mr. Hathaway, Dr. Nichols, and Chief Opet will be there. And hope everybody comes out. A couple other things. I believe the Taste of New Kent was a success. Another event that was held at Rosie's and Colonial Downs that these people have been able to give us a lot of time and space, and they've been very good to the county. On Friday, I get to go to something that's interesting. There's a Brown versus the Board of Education meeting at 3 o'clock downtown. I was talking to Mr. Hathaway about this. We have a little significance in it because I guess we were Green versus the Board of Supervisors in New Kent was part of this class action suit that eventually had something to do with stopping desegregation. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's about it.
Thank you. Just a couple things. I'd just like to echo my fellow board members. Great job, Ms. Hurt, on the event. The governor made a big announcement yesterday that the Virginia Derby next year will be in March. And whatever horse wins that race will be pretty much qualified to run in the Kentucky Derby. So that should get us some big horses coming in the New Kent County. It's a bunch of big names. So that was interesting. On behalf of my family and myself, I would like to thank, my fellow board members, staff, the community for reaching out during these last couple of weeks with the passing of my father. It was extremely heartfelt for my family to see how much love, support, texts, calls, and cards we received. So I just want to thank you for everybody out there for all the cares and prayers that you have sent our family in the last couple of weeks. It really meant a lot. So thank you. Next, staff reports, Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the board. I do have a couple of things. First is House Bill 1071, which we discussed a little earlier today, and that's the bill that authorizes the board to adjust speed limits on our public roadway. I did receive guidance from VDOT this morning. I have a few questions related to that guidance as far as the noticing and public hearing requirements, which I'll follow up with VDOT in the morning tomorrow, and then I will send you that information regarding the process that's involved to change speed limits. And I do have one item for your consideration.
Could I interrupt, Ms.
Yes,
Hathaway?
yes.
What about HB 74? Was that included?
That was not included in what VDOT sent me this morning.
Okay.
That was specifically for the speed limits.
Okay, there was another one that I inquired about, this HB 74.
I'll follow up with
Okay.
Marshall.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mhm.
That was a rural roads bill.
Rural roads.
Yeah, it's improvements to unpaved, non-VDOT roads, without paving them, but to go into non-VDOT roads and maybe grade the road, bring in gravel,
Yes.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is an item that I shared with you on Friday when I received it. This is a request from the Commissioner of Revenue and our Treasurer to approve the contract that you have before you for the purchase of tax software, which does several things, and it works along with our financial software system. It is essentially a tax software, but it also is a cashiering system, and it allows residents to make payments online, which is a complaint that I receive a lot from our public because our current method is probably software from the 80s, it seems like, and this would upgrade that and make that experience more user-friendly. With the amount of this software, we had budgeted this back in 2018 when we purchased our Tyler Munis financial software, our current software system. It's just taken a while to find a software that works with Tyler Munis, our financial system, and meets our requirements. The module that Tyler Munis had did not satisfy state code requirements, actually, so therefore we did not purchase that module, and we've carried the funding forward. There is no additional money required for this software. It is a big purchase. It's a $418,000 software package. But again, that's been budgeted in this current budget. The only action that is required is for you to authorize me to execute the agreement for this software. This will replace our current Bright system. Unfortunately, when we upgraded to our Tyler Munis financial software system, we had to keep our Bright system as well to handle the property taxes. So our staff here is working off of two systems that do not talk to each other. So that creates some inefficiencies. And again, it doesn't have the best experience for our taxpayers and residents as well. There is an annual fee of $115,000. We're currently paying Bright that amount too, so it's no additional cost because we'll be able to get rid of the Bright system as far as annual ongoing fees.
Mr. Hathaway, just speaking from experience and working in Bright myself, it's a very antiquated system. I don't know how much longer it could be supported,
I
honestly.
agree.
And it's good that the Commissioner of Revenue and the Treasurer have agreed upon this.
And as far as the timing of this, the reason we're bringing this to you now, it is our hope that we can implement this system prior to the next tax season. So.
Yeah, that was my question, Mr. Hathaway. I was hoping have a little time to look at it, but I know there's been some concern, some board members, but.
A couple of questions. Where would the funding come for this?
Sorry, in budget.
It's already budgeted.
Okay.
We had a line item
Okay.
for the purchase of Tyler Munis.
Okay.
Yep.
It's been a long time coming.
And then the other question I have is, so the residents can do online payments.
Yes, they can
Does
create
that-
accounts.
Does that delete the extra fee for them to make the payments online, or is there still an extra fee for that?
Well, I believe that the extra fee is a credit card fee.
Right.
I don't believe that it does away with the credit card fee. That's
does.
a separate company that charges us for that. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But and I'd also like to add, this software, residents can create accounts and manage their accounts so they can make payments throughout the year. Because I always get, why do we collect taxes right before Christmas? It's the worst time ever. I agree. But they'll be able to make payments whenever throughout the year.
That is available now, just
Yes.
not online.
That's right.
Okay, because you can.
Do we have any strategy or thought on how we're going to tell the citizens about this?
Yes. We will roll this out with our social media. I'm not sure if that's something we can put on our tax bills when we send that out, but we'll definitely roll this out through social media.
Probably be the most popular thing on social media for us for a while.
Anybody else have any?
Does our finance director have any experience with this?
I don't have any experience with this particular one. I will echo.
You can get up on the phone.
Sorry.
Should have made Josh do it too.
I don't have any experience directly with Avinity. I do have experience implementing Munis, and I echo the concerns of our commissioner and treasurer. It's not the most friendly thing for users on our side or end users outside. So I think this is a good move, especially if both the commissioner and treasurer are signing off on it.
Yeah.
And I've gone through a couple of implementations as well, so looking forward to that again. So,
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Did the commissioner, did they go do some training a couple weeks ago?
Next week, I think.
Oh, is it next week? Any other comments, questions?
Well, as this is already in the budget and everything, I think a motion tonight would be acceptable. Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize the county administrator to execute the proposed County One Express software license agreement and master client agreement with Avinity, Inc. in the amount of $418,000 in a form approved by the county attorney.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Watkins, we poll the members.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Motion passed. Any other staff reports?
No, sir.
Any other business? Appointments delegated by district. Anybody have any? Ms. Pearson? You need this?
I move to appoint Pamela Radwani as District 3 representative to the Historic Commission to complete a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Anyone else? If there are none, Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members on appointments delegated by district, please?
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next, appointments not delegated by district.
So I don't have any appointments, but I do have a question, comment for people in the room or watching. I need some youth committee members, so please talk to your friends and neighbors if they're interested and send them to me. I'm in the odd age category where I don't have children, but I'm also not old enough to have grandchildren, or so I don't know that many. So please send them to me.
Yeah, and we need a youth leader too, an adult leader. for that program too. And we just really need to get, they're our future. We need to get them involved. They can do things like help with the recycle event for the Clean County Committee. We're going to have another trash pickup on Page Road so that we can get the Adopt a Highway sign out there in memory of Miss Page. They can help with that. There's lots of things for the youth to do in the community, so it doesn't have to be from our specific district. So, and Kim Turner is going to help with that too, our Parks and Rec directors.
You have one, Mr.
Not delegated by district? Yes, I have. I move to appoint Jacob Dombrowski as a Planning Commission representative to the Housing Advisory Committee. This seat was added by the adoption of Resolution R-11-24 on April 30th, 2024. The Planning Commission voted at their July 15th, 2024 meeting to recommend Mr. Dombrowski for appointment.
Thank you, Ms. Moyer. Anyone else? If none, Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members on appointments not delegated by district, please?
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Last, the appointments of regional boards and commissions. See, we have one. I don't know whose district. Anybody can make. Go ahead.
I move to appoint Jenny Kittrell as a representative to the Colonial Community Criminal Justice Board to complete a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2026.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Anyone else? Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members of regional boards and commission appointments?
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. All right. Anybody have any other topics of comments? If none, our next meeting schedule of the Board of Supervisors will be held at 6 p.m. on Monday, September 9th, 2024, and the next work session will be held at 9 a.m. on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, both in the boardroom and of the County Administration Building. And one last comment, I think classes start in 2 weeks for kids going back to school, so citizens out there, keep your eyes out there and pay attention to the school buses and be careful here around the courthouse and all the school zones because it's going to be hectic for a little while until everybody gets back in routine. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mr.
So
Chair.
moved.
Oh, I'll say.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Mr. Steers,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
and Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Good night.
All the AFTs.
Yeah.